Hi, and welcome to Kinark Creates. I'm Taryn, and I'm an ASD consultant with Kinark Autism Services. Today, I'm going to show you how to use a First Then board with your child. First Then, or the PREMAC principle, is the principle that motivation to complete a less preferred task increases when the task is followed by a more preferred activity. A First Then board is a visual tool that helps establish motivation and makes your child's environment more predictable. A First Then board can help your child transition between activities, increase your child's motivation to complete activities that they might not like or find difficult, and finally, a First Then board can be used to help your child eventually use a visual schedule which can build their independence. Perhaps your child constantly asks questions about when they can have a preferred item, or when they can have a snack, or when a scheduled event is to occur. A First Then board is a good tool for children who have strong motivators, who already respond to symbols or pictures or text, but who may struggle to comply with certain tasks. Identify items or activities that your child really likes and is going to be motivated to work for. Involve your child in selecting potential reinforcers. One way you can do this is simply asking them what they would like to work for. Hey, it's time to do your reading. What do you want to work for? Okay, awesome. When first introducing a First Then board with your child, you want to start with a neutral activity followed by a highly preferred activity. So for example, in this case, this child can do puzzles, although they might not like to do them, and TV is very motivating. Your First Then board doesn't have to be fancy. In fact, the simpler it is, the easier it will be for your child to understand what's on it. It simply needs to consist of a place for the first activity and a place for the second activity. You can use either pictures or actual objects to represent the first task and the highly preferred activity. Present the First Then board to your child by labeling and pointing to each of the tasks on the visual. First, one more bite of apple, then play. Ensure that your highly preferred activity is available immediately after your child completes the first task on the First Then board. Good job eating your apple. Now you can play. Some general tips to consider when using a First Then board with your child is you don't want to allow access to the highly preferred activity until they have completed the first task. Now, if you're noticing that your child's having difficulty completing the task, you can consider modifying your expectations. So in the previous example, I noticed that my child wasn't going to eat the entire apple, so I modified my expectation to just eat one bite to ensure that she complied with at least some level of this task before I allowed her to play with her toys. If your child doesn't respond after you give the initial instruction, point to the first activity on the first board again, rather than repeating your instruction. Finally, you want to keep the First Then board visible to your child while they're completing the task as a reminder and to increase their motivation. So we hope that you found this Kinark Creates video useful, and we hope to see you again soon.